All right, and then we'll go ahead and get the program started. We have some amazing speakers today, so I don't want to take away their valuable time here. I'm Ruth Hackney. I'm the CEO here at Raskow. I'm really excited to welcome you all here today. For those of you who don't have it on their calendar, feel free to join us for live networking at 5 o'clock today at the Thirsty Goat over in the Fitchburg area. So thank you so much for your participation. We have a lot of really fantastic information coming to you, but this is, you're going to get what you give. So take advantage of the chat. Please give some feedback, unmute yourself and ask questions. These speakers have really encouraged that participation back and forth. Hi, Neil. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that chat. Please don't hesitate to use it, whether you're asking a question, possibly even answering a question, giving your opinion on something, maybe share an experience or support someone else's experience that they have. So really use that chat function as a kind of active way to participate. There will be opportunities as well after each of our presenters go to ask them questions specifically where you can mute yourself or unmute yourself. So please keep yourself on mute while they're presenting, just in case. You know, sometimes those accidents happen or you forget that you're off mute and you say something silly. I think that's really it. So we are recording this presentation and we will be sharing it to all of those who have registered for the event. So if you want to rewatch it or share with others, you'll have the opportunity to do so as well. So we're actually going to start today with Neil Mathwig. He knows what it's like trying to get unstuck as a real estate agent. After hitting a plateau early in his career, Neil did a lot of research and tried umpteen tactics and strategies to get moving forward again, but nothing worked. Finally, he discovered the secrets to become a confident, successful agent. And now after 2 decades in the business and more than 1,000 deals, he's sharing everything he knows to help agents build a rewarding real estate business that they love. And that's what he's going to help us with today. So please help Neil. We need the help.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm just honored to be here. And this is like, I feel like I'm back in Wisconsin. So I've been full-time RVing and I'm in my RV down in Florida right now. And I feel like I'm back in Wisconsin. So I love you all. And I'm so honored to be here. And Allie, thank you. I don't know what you got me into here, but thanks for nominating me and asking me to be here. So I appreciate that. Can I get a little bit of an idea of where everybody is at in their business? Like, are you new? Are you been in the business for, you know, a couple of years, 2-3 years? Are you an old vet? Like some of us, like whereabouts are you in your business? I just love to see if you guys could put that in the chat really quick. Tell me how long you've been an agent. And then I'll get my slides up. And of course, you guys have any questions along the way, go ahead and put those in the chat and I'll do my best to answer those at the very end. And I have, let's see, 15 minutes. So I'm going to try to cram in as much as I possibly can in 15 minutes. And so we're seeing, okay, so 2 years solo agent, brand new. Belinda, awesome. Welcome to the business. 13 years. Agent for 6 years, new agent, a lot of new, 5 years, 2 years. All right, we got a great, and Laura, great to see you, a mortgage lender. Awesome, good deal. Let's get the slides started here and let's try to help everybody out a little bit here. So, you know that saying, yep, that's me. Well, that was me right there in 2002 as a brand new agent. Let's just stop and admire this for a second here. Neil wearing a long sleeve shirt by a lake. Man, he's a good looking guy, you know, 22 years old, hungry, ready to go sell real estate. I just look at this picture and laugh. But the other thing that this picture represents is me starting out as a brand new agent. And I was told when I started that I had to dial for dollars. That, you know, here's some Mike Ferry scripts, some, you know, FSBO and expired scripts, and you better go dial for dollars. And you got a list to live. I mean, all great advice. But the thing that I found was it just wasn't me. Like I just like I couldn't pick up the phone again. I felt like I was a round peg trying to fit into a square hole. And I almost quit. I almost said this business isn't for me, because I had surrounded myself with those that were doing that. And so they had painted the picture that that was the only way for me to succeed, was to do what I hated, to dial for dollars or to door knock, or do things that just get out of your comfort zone, they would say, right? And I just, it just never felt right to me. So I eventually found what was right for me. I started a newsletter, and I started mailing my newsletter, and then I started doing open houses. I had an agent that I grew up in DeForest, and she was an agent in DeForest that had just an abundance of listings, and she didn't like doing open houses. So I was doing all of her open houses, and then I started blogging, and then social media came, and then I started attracting business. And what it looked like was I realized that if I had a clear plan that was congruent to me, and then I stayed consistent with the plan, I would eventually break through. And so as I started helping other agents develop their business and their plans, we realized that there was so much power in having a clear plan, because you can get what we call like shiny object syndrome, where you try one thing one month and another thing another month, and you can just flounder trying things. So you got to have a clear plan that is focused. And then the plan needs to feel right. Like calling FSBOs and expireds never felt right to me, right? Like I didn't want to do that. So it wasn't congruent with me. So your plan needs to be congruent with you. It needs to feel right. And then when it feels right, you have a much better chance of staying consistent. And consistency is the most important thing in this business. What everything in this business works. You will learn that you can go do open houses, you can get Facebook leads, you can get Google leads, you can get Zillow leads, you can door knock, you can dial for dollars. You'll find that it all works. But what feels right to you, right? And then you have to stay consistent with it, right? Because consistency is everything. So then what we learned is okay, we got to have a clear plan that's congruent to us, and one that we stay consistent. And then we have to follow some steps to be able to build this business that we love. All right. And so we came up with what we call as the Agent Rise steps. These are 8 steps. And if you're a brand new agent, you can start on step number 1 and start working through it. We got some 5s and some 6-year agents, and some experience here. You might say, you know what? I never did this when I started, and maybe I should just kind of humble myself right now, and maybe just go back to the beginning, right? And start working on this and follow these steps. And we've had a lot of agents that have joined where they just said, hey, I just wanted to have a beginner's mind. Right. So if you've got some experience, maybe look at this and follow these steps as a beginner, even though you're not a beginner anymore. But let's briefly go through these. And again, we only have a little bit of time, so I'm just going to rush through these here, and then I'm going to give you resources and everything so you can take all this with you and take it to the next level. So the first thing is you want to create a database, and it's around 100 people. That number isn't as important as having the database. Like, this is my fixed group of people, right? These are my peeps, I would say. So you ask yourself, like, who would I invite who would I invite to my wedding? Who would I want to come to my client event if I had one? Who would support me? Who's my friends? Who are the connections I have on Facebook and on LinkedIn? And who am I meeting with? Who am I networking with? That's your database, okay? And again, databases, we can have conversations for days about databases, but in the beginning, start really, really simple. Names and addresses, okay? Then the next thing that you want to do is send an announcement letter. If you're a new agent, or if you're an experienced agent that has lost a little bit of, you haven't stayed in touch with your people, or maybe you've been an agent for a couple of years and you've never mailed anything to anybody, you want to send an announcement letter that kind of serves as the on-ramp to helping the agent or helping you get connected with your people. We're going to give you some announcement letters and stuff. This is going to be inside the resource that I'm going to give you at the very end. Then the next step is you want to build what we call is your sphere of influence pillar. We're going to build 3 pillars together, okay? Your sphere, your chase, and your attraction. Your sphere, again, this is the database. And what we have found is that if we mail to our database on a monthly basis, we can really connect with our sphere. So we mail them a newsletter, and there's many different options of what you can mail, but we mail them a monthly newsletter every single month, because month after month, year after year of them seeing and hearing from you, you will connect with your sphere on another level that you've never connected before. And there's 4 components that we look for in a newsletter. The first one is that it's not all about real estate. The second one is that there's a little bit of fun in the newsletter, so there's creates some engagement. And the third one is that you have a thank you section where you thank those that have recently referred you, and that will breathe life into more referrals. How am I doing on time? 5 more minutes? Right? Right.
Yep, you've got it. Yeah, you've got about 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. All right, sounds good. So and then the fourth one, you want to thank your people in your sphere nonstop. But then the fourth one is you want to have authority of the author. And when you are writing articles and giving offers to free special reports that help them as homeowners, this will increase your credibility. See, the question you want to ask with your sphere is, do they know that I'm in real estate? Most of them probably do, right? Maybe you've told them, or you think that they know. So do they know that you're in real estate? Do they trust you, right? So maybe your sphere, some of your people in your sphere would trust you, right? Your friends, they would trust you. Then the third question is, do they trust you with your real estate? Right? And that's where you've got to get to. You've got to get to a place where they trust you with your real estate. And when you send a newsletter month after month, after year, and it shows those that are trusting you, they're more likely to trust you as well. So a lot of really good things can go in the newsletter. Real quick, a newsletter program that I'm a fan of. I use Service for Life for many years, and then also Fast Newsletters. Newsletters is plural, fastnewsletters.com. If anybody wants to type those into the chat, maybe Allie, if you want to throw those in the chat, those are 2 good resources where you can get the newsletter done for you, and then you can send it out every month. All right. The next thing is on to step number 4, and that's your chase pillar. Your chase pillar is going to be Facebook advertising, online leads, FSBOs and expireds, or open houses are the 4 most popular. You pick one of those and you double down on it. You go all in, and that becomes your chase pillar. Then we're going to go on to step number 5, and that's building your matchmaker system. And what this is I had this lead that had come in, and the lady had told me everything that she was looking for in her new house, and I could visualize it. I knew she wanted a 2-story, 3-car garage in West Wind. Like, I knew right what she was looking for. And we had this great conversation, and then the conversation ended, and she had to get back to her job. She had to go. So the call ended, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I'll call you later today." Well, she never called me. I called her a few times and left her messages and said, "Hey, this is Neil checking in." And I realized that she wasn't going to call me back. And I kind of thought, shoot, I lost this awesome lead. But then I got thinking, I know what she's looking for. So I went onto the MLS, and sure enough, Pam Veniga over in Sun Prairie, the perfect house in the coming soon section, ready to go. Showings begin on Thursday. So I call this lady back, and I said, "I am so sorry that, I've left multiple messages, and I know you're busy, but I saw this house and I thought of you. It's exactly what you're looking for. It looks like showings begin on Thursday. Give me a call back when you get a chance, and I'll tell you more about it." And 15 minutes later, my phone rings, and it's her. She's like, "I'm so sorry, I've been so busy. But tell me about this house." And what I learned in that moment is that I wasn't giving her what she wanted. See, we were all following up with our leads, and we're calling to check in, and we're calling to stay in the loop with them, right? And that's not what they want. I mean, just think about it. If somebody, a salesperson, somebody that called you and just said, "Hey, wondering how your search is going, just want to stay in the loop," would you feel compelled to call them back? Probably not, right? So then what we started doing is we started getting criteria from everybody. Once we get their criteria and their contact information, then we started matching them up with others, right? And other sellers that we knew and other houses that were coming on the market or you know, even off market stuff, whatever else we could match them up with. And then we called that our matchmaker system. All right. So you get that set up in step number 5, and that's to help you convert all those leads that you're generating. Step number 6 is to have systems for everything in your business. You want to have systems for when you present offers, when you write offers, when you do a listing appointment, when you are at a buyer consultation appointment, your contract to close. Anything that you do repetitively needs to have a system. Guys, we love systems, and so does our consumers. Why do you love Chick-fil-A so much? The chicken sandwich is pretty good, but man, that service, that system is amazing. And that's what we all rave about. And that's why we all go back. We see the drive-through, it's a mile long. We don't care. We're going to get in and out of it because it's so amazing, right? Our clients are the same way. They love our systems. Get systems, and it's going to set you free. It's going to help you build a business that you love. Step number 7, attract business. We're not going to get into all of this, but YouTube is a popular one. Being a social agent is another one. And then we have what we call social media ecosystems is another one to attract business. And then the last step is to go back to your database, and you do this over and over and over, and you repeat, always be adding things to your database, or adding things to your sphere. You can be, you can add client events. You got the newsletter going already, but you can add client events, VIP programs, VIP rental program, so many different things you can do with your clients, and all of that. It's all in my book, and I'm going to give you guys my book here. So this is the 3-pillar plan. So these are the 3 different pillars. So you got the sphere, the chase, and the attraction. And after you go through these steps, you select all of this and see what happens now at the very end of all of this is you remove clutter, right? You follow the steps. You have a very basic 3-pillar plan. You mail a monthly newsletter. You do open houses. You're all in on open houses, or you do Facebook advertising. You do matchmaking, and you have an attraction pillar. And then you put all of this into a day block, and you follow this plan. You have a clear plan that's congruent to you, and you stay consistent with it, and it helps you build a business that you love. There's a lot more to it, and I'm going to give you guys all a copy of my book. And so a digital copy. If you want a real copy, go to Amazon. It's available on Amazon. But if you guys want a digital copy of it, just email me, neil@neilmathwig.com, and we'll get you a copy. I think we'll get them all out by tomorrow. So go ahead and email me, neil@neilmathwig.com, and we'll get you a copy of this book. I wrote this book with, it's many years, 20 years into this book. But what I did is I came up with a fictional character that we call, her name is Mary, in honor of my aunt. And Mary is a collection of all of the different breakthroughs and all of the different stories and moments that I've had with coaching agents. And so it's all of these different breakthrough moments told in a teachable fashion. So you guys can have the book, and let me know how it helps you. So I think I talked enough. Let me get on to introducing Laura Lati. And Laura, I'm so honored that I do get to introduce you, because Laura and I were in the same exact office. You know that picture that I showed you in the very beginning of that young, like she knew that young guy way back in our beginning days. And so it's just an honor to be able to introduce her, because she's the real deal. Like, I saw Laura at the very beginning, and Laura will share more about her story, and you can see all of her story and her accolades here, and her commitment to the community and everything that she does for our association and our board and everything. I mean, she's amazing. But I knew her at the very, very beginning of her career, and I saw her work her tail off. I always said, Laura, you're like a pit bull. Like I hand off somebody to you, and you won't let it go of them, and you will help them, and you will get them all the way there. And she's just ferocious. And it's no wonder she's the success that she is today, because her commitment. She's awesome. So you guys are in for a treat. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you so much, Neil, for the intro and for sharing your Agent Rise steps and tips. I can't wait to read your book as well.
Awesome.
Cool. How is everyone doing today? Great. I appreciate you guys all taking time out of your day for this event, and I'll be attending the networking event later on tonight at the Thursday Goat. So if you'd like to talk with me further, just come find me. I'm more than happy to talk with you. All right, let's get started. All right, networking. Could I see a raise of hands of how many of you are part of a networking group or civil club outside of real estate? Great job for those who are a part of one. You can find business opportunities by joining a local club that serves the community, networking group, or meetup that enjoys similar hobbies as you. I have been a part of various organizations that include the Sun Prairie Lions Club, 100 Women Who Care, the Lodi Chamber, and the Fitchburg Chamber to give you some ideas for additional networking opportunities. Volunteering, giving back, not only makes you feel good by helping others, but it creates valuable connections within our community while bringing awareness to you and your business. I also recommend continuing learning. I recommended doing designation classes. It not only helps you think outside the box, but with those who you work with. To pass the time, with all the driving we do, I would recommend listening to some work-related audiobooks or podcasts for another avenue in learning something new. Raise a hand for people who are currently conducting strategy sessions or like consults with your buyers and sellers when you first meet with them. So strategy sessions are part of my system, Neil, and beneficial for all parties involved. Not only do you build trust and form a relationship with the customer, but it's a great time to educate them on the process, the market, expectations, and the risks, upfront costs, while you're creating a customized home search for those buyers or jotting down the seller notes, depending on if it's a seller. Fairway Mortgage offers a free co-branding marketing buyer and seller booklet that comes out seasonally. And you can add additional information to. I'm not sure if any other mortgage brokers do that, but I know that there are ones that do it. And I go over certain pages of the booklet while, oh shoot, sorry, I lost my thing. That I created during the strategy session and give them a hard copy at the end. Your preferred mortgage lenders who you referred customers and closed deals with, see if they'd be interested in doing joint marketing and split the cost for a is now a good time to buy event or a customer appreciation party. Insurance agents, inspectors, and title companies that you refer business to would also be people you can consider doing a joint event with. Create a referral network based on relationships with people that you've hired or worked with and refer customers to one another. It's a way to get a free word of mouth advertising. For example, your hairstylist, a CPA, insurance agent, etc. Here's some ideas for an individual agent. I suggest branding yourself or creating a logo and a website or having someone do it for you outside of what your brokerage offers you. Your website and brand makes you stick out from others within your brokerage, creates uniqueness, brings up your SEO, and allows customers to find you directly. If you love the camera, create a TikTok or short videos and upload them on YouTube, offering helpful information to buyers and sellers. Examples: tour a home, use special effects to display your space, filters, slow motion, for some examples. Host a competition or a contest. Treat your followers and Instagram friends to exclusive content. Include a special open house virtual tour or behind the scenes video from showings. Show off your pets. Document your life as a realtor. Give people the inside look of what you do throughout the course of an average day. Create a time-lapse video. Host a Q&A. Show off your workplace. Highlight your community and surrounding area. Show off your home decorating style. And lastly, tour your office and talk about your work ethic. Again, I want to thank you guys all for attending. And I'm going to introduce you to Jackie C. with First Weber Group. Jackie C. entered real estate in 1981 and is now on her 40th year as a realtor. Having owned her own real estate sales and rental company in Rhinelander for 10 years, she moved to Madison in 1992. President of Roscoe in 2000, Jackie has been involved not only with the real estate class sales, but she's taught the WRA Quick Start classes and still teaches real estate negotiating classes throughout the state. Jackie believes that through education, realtors are not only will become more professional, but they will help our communities become even better. Jackie, it's your turn, sorry.
I guess I better unmute myself. Thanks, Laura. Wow. With both of you, Neil and Laura, there's a lot of stuff in here. And you know, we make it sound complicated, don't we? There's a lot of things to do. And yet how many people think that, oh, you know, I really like houses. Yeah, you know, I think I'll go into real estate, right? You know, I like looking at houses. I'm interested in that. And, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's interesting. It's an interesting business. And as you said, I found myself when my husband back in 1981, now that's before most of you were born, said, you know, one of us should probably get a real estate license. I think it'd be good for us to have. I thought, yeah, okay. I'm a mother of 4, stay-home mom of 4. At that time, though, I was a volunteer in charge of Girl Scouts in northern Wisconsin. So I probably had about somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 leaders and probably 200 to 300 girls I was responsible for. And my husband said, you know, I think you're good with people. Why don't you see that? So I took the class at, of course, at Nicolet College and caught the bug instantly. As a matter of fact, the instructor, who became a friend of mine, was terrible at math. And I remember he would say, Jackie, why don't you teach the algebra on that? For a while, in high school, I thought I would be a math teacher, an algebra teacher, because I love algebra. And I said, so I would teach the algebra classes. And I guess I did everything in my life not to be a teacher. I was in a 5-year nursing degree program, have a major in biology and German, and the closely related field of Spanish. And then I became a homemaker, and we also owned a sporting goods store up in Rhinelander for many years. But I decided let's try the real estate route, because I just went to work for a broker up there. And the end of January of 1982, I brought in my 3rd listing that week. And Bob said to me, "Oh, that's really good, Jackie. By the way, I'm going to be closing the office next week." And so all of a sudden there I am saying, well, okay, what do I do with these? I had 25 out of the 30 listings in the office. And so decided I had a broker's license. Let's open up my own company. Okay, so here I am, just like a lot of you, where you're in real estate and saying, now what in the heck do I do? If I'm going to be a broker and managing an office and have an office, where do I even begin? And so, and the part-time secretary for my former company placed her license with me. And I might add, at the time, February 1st of 1982 is the day that I opened up my real estate company. Any idea what interest rates were that day? And maybe why the broker of my office closed his office? Okay, we got 17. Ben, you're great. Ben is a neighbor of mine, 17%. We were at that time, yes, that day that I opened, where interest rates were 17%. By fall, had climbed to 21, 22%. And so what do you do with that? Well, you do a lot of quickly learn how to do land contracts and seller financing. And so you went with the tide. You went with what you had to do at that time to survive. I think we came in number 2 in town after having, there were 6 offices in town at that time. And the other brokers had said, you know, let them do their thing. You know, these 2 gals, I'm sure they'll be calling to one of us in by the end of the year. But it didn't work out that way. But what I did do, quickly learned that I did not know the very beginning of running an office. So I started checking around and I merged with a company called Statewide Real Estate, which is no longer in business, but Statewide had 25 offices in Wisconsin and 25 in Michigan. And what they stressed was education. And so that's what I needed. And they also stressed very much working with other brokers and other offices. So I started right off the bat. We started meeting and we met almost on a monthly basis, but I could call any one of them and say, okay, what do I do with this? How do I do that? What do I do? And it was an incredible networking company, but also stressing education. I was a member of the Northwoods Board of Realtors. There was a broker with Statewide in Minocqua, one in Eagle River, one in Wausau, one in Tomahawk, and we formed our own little network where we really could network with each other as brokers, managers, and what we were going to do for the agents. Well, one of the first things I did was decided that I needed to know more about how to manage an office. And so NAR had the certified residential broker, the CRB management, and I decided I'm going to do that. At that time, you had to go to various cities throughout the country, and it was probably only being offered 2 or 3 classes a year at the most. And so I figured that I made a goal that, and that's part of Neil, where you set a goal. I made a goal that in 5 years I would have my my CRB, probably at the cost of about, at that time, probably around $15,000 because of having to travel and stay for a week. We were a week each time, anywhere from 4 to 5 days. But so the education came in, and Statewide said, okay, if you're going to be taking these classes, we'll pay you for part of them, but we want you to teach. So I would compress a 2 to 3 day class, a 5-day class, into 2 or 3 days. And so that's the one thing I want to say to you. If you know how to do something, don't be afraid to teach it. Now that can be to your clients, your customers, people that you might be mentoring. Don't be afraid to show them, because we all learn. We all learn through that, and probably really solidifying that. But from that, with I was a member of course of the WRA, and I took one of the very earliest classes I took with WRA was a Quick Start, and I thought, well, I could teach that class. And so I called down and I said, I'd be very interested in teaching that. And starting in '85, I started teaching the Quick Start program, just parts of it. And anyway, it just is, as much as you learn, you're starting out. So many of you are new, and there's so many things we can do. But one of the things is you really have to get down pat. How do I do a listing contract? How do I do an offer to purchase? Now our companies do that and train us, but until you're really doing it on your own, where you know those forms inside out and backwards and upside down, and that's one of the things too, as good realtors, you learn to read upside down. Although now we're doing so much online that you don't have to read it upside down, but it's part of that. You really have to know what you're selling, not only the house, but you have to know how to write the offer and how to present it. And are you going to read every single word in that listing agreement to the seller before they fall asleep and you take them off the table? You have to know how to paraphrase that. They can see that. We came down, my husband accepted a job down in Madison. And so we decided to move. I decided to sell my real estate company, which I did, and came down to Madison. And suddenly I found myself in 1992, having had a great business in Rhinelander, and here knowing nobody. I knew my husband, I knew our sophomore son in high school, and a daughter who was at the university, actually 2 daughters at the university at that time. And that was it. And I knew Jim Imhoff. Jim said, oh, check it all out, and I want to make you an offer you can't refuse. So I came down and decided, well, I would join First Realty, which is now First Weber. And one of the first things I did is start, back in '92, we started with buyer agency. Started the very first class I took And I thought, I want to teach buyer agency. And so I've been licensed to teach buyer agency and actually compress that to a smaller, easier class, not with a designation, but ones that really, where you learn how to do that. I stress education. I cannot stress that enough, how we need to be educated, how we need to educate ourselves. And in so doing, then we educate those people we're working with. One of the things, I can't see your response, I can't see your pictures on here. And I was wondering that because I do teach online and I love to see pictures. And so I can recognize people by faces. So a few of you have your faces showing. If the others would like to, I'd love to see who you are. Then the next thing to do is I was president of the Business and Professional Women up in Rylander when we moved here. And I had to go back every 2 to 3 weeks to consult with the company that purchased me. And so I got involved with Business and Professional Women here. And then found myself the next year being president of our local BPW here in Madison. I can't tell you, again, I stress networking. One of the very first things I wanted to do was learn about the Realtor Association. Well, actually, we were the Greater Madison Board of Realtors at that time. And I wanted to know who we were working with. One of the things we did, which was really neat at the time, is we had a monthly meeting not the Park Inn, at the Edgewater. And probably about 200 agents, brokers would be meeting there. And on a monthly basis, we had speakers, but it was a great way to learn who was in real estate and who was in this area. And boy, I didn't want to miss a meeting because I wanted to meet everybody that different companies, different agents, and get to know the agents. I think one of the most successful things you can do is know who the agent is that you're working with on a deal. Just like you need to know your buyers and your sellers, you need to know the agents and know what you need to do to make this come together. So RASCO was the Greater Madison Board of Realtors was the perfect place. Well, I started getting involved with some of the boards and ran a committee which really looked into publications. At that time, we had the City Country Homes. If any of you, Janine, do you remember City Country Homes? It was a monthly magazine that came out. Of course, we weren't online. We didn't have, and some of you can't even imagine that we really didn't have cell phones. I had a bag phone. We didn't have internet. We had internet, but we didn't really have what we're doing here. We still have the books that came out on a weekly basis, showing us what was listed and maybe what was sold. And so you had to work with the other agents, find out, hey, what do you have? What's coming up? Or if you listed a property, you wanted to let the other people know that. But anyway, I became involved with our board, and in 2000 was the president of at that time, the Greater Madison Realtors, Board of Realtors. And at the time I was president, merged or changed our name to become the Realtor Association of South Central Wisconsin. And we merged with Prairie du Sac, that area. And it's just been growing and doing great ever since. But knowing the people that you're working with is what I'm saying. And that's all part of the education. Taking part of all the education classes, even that our association offers, is amazing. So you don't have to spend a mint to get educated. Just take advantage of what's out here. Networking is what I do. That's my middle name. Whether it was Girl Scouts, I became vice president of Girl Scouts here. I joined Optimus. I'm always an optimistic person. I didn't feel I had time to commit to where I had to be at a meeting every week. And so I joined Optimus and really had a great time with that. My husband was in Rotary. I said, you join Rotary. Well, after my board, after being as the president of RASC, I decided maybe I could make every meeting once a week. So I joined Rotary. And today I'm one of the most optimistic Rotarians in the community, because I'm in both organizations. I have been very involved with education especially with kids. And we have saying 4 kids, and I now have 7 grandchildren. And finding out there's a high school in town called Horizon High School, which really caters to kids that have alcohol and drug abuse. I'm on the board of directors of that. And we just did a webinar last night. I'd love for some of you to see this. It was with having a healthy minds and all these things that you keep on learning. And I think once you join real estate, you keep on learning. You have to learn to do, become a better person, to learn what you're doing, how to serve your clients and customers as much and serve the community. That's what we're doing. By more people owning their own home, we really, really build a better community. They've got roots. So, and with the networking, I don't join. I'm not a member of my church because I want people to list their houses with me or to buy their property with me, buy a home with me. But you know what? You do business with people you know and like. And by being involved in these organizations, whether it's volunteerism, whether it's RASCO, whether it's wherever you are, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, you get to meet people that have similar interests. And from that, then, that's how you connect. And that's what part of, that's what real estate is connections. How do you do that? How do you connect? And then once you connect, once you know what you're doing, then go back to Neil's things, create your database, do this kind of stuff. Have a clear plan. And I think that's great. Both of you, Neil and Laura, you've got excellent plans and systems. Wow. It really comes down to the basics though, too. And that's what you're doing. You're saying, okay, we've got the basics. And I'm probably going farther in that and saying, get the basics down first. Know who you are, know what we have to do, know the forms, know what it does what we need to do to become a realtor. And then do other stuff like, how many of you were at Realtor and Government Day? What was that, last month? Awesome. I mean, that's fabulous. I mean, that's the kind of stuff. We have 250 people there, realtors from around the state, and connecting and learning what our industry does for home ownership, for property ownership throughout the state. I guess if I've got a moment quickly, that was one of the first things I ended up doing in '85. I joined the real estate political action committee, and came down to Madison here and started, met Likey Thiel and became a good friend with Likey. It was his first year doing, being with RPAC, being on the board of Realtors, WRA. And Likey is now the president of Wisconsin Realtors Association, a fabulous person, and running our businesses, knowing what has to be done to keep us in the industry, to keep our industry going. It's absolutely amazing what happens on the state level. So what I'm saying, we've got a lot of things, and boy, you're probably all going nuts. What am I going to do with all of this stuff? How different, what can I do to make it come to me, to make it be a living? And I guess what you have to sit down and figure out, okay, who am I? What am I trying to do? How can I do it? And again, start that plan. So am I confusing everybody by all of these?
You did great. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you very much.
Maybe somewhere along the line, you'll be in it for 40 years and say, what am I doing? Can you imagine what it'd be like in 40 years from now? Oh, wow. They'll zap us into a house. Who knows?
Can you imagine? Where will technology take us in 40 years?
Oh, I know. Isn't that something?
All right, so I have repinned Neil and Laura back, and we can open it up to conversation. So everyone, feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions or provide us some feedback, or maybe give us a suggestion. What's worked for you in your time as a real estate agent? Don't be shy.
or maybe what they would like to learn or know.
Yeah.
What can we do for you?
Start.
I have a question.
Oh,
See Imani?
Hey, for Miss Lati, is it?
Yeah. Mhm.
Miss Lati, you said one of the things that we could do for our like social media presence was touring houses. But I don't really have any houses that are available to me to tour. And so what can you suggest any ways that you would get around that? Like, is there an appropriate way to ask an agent for us to tour their property or something like that?
So yeah, maybe see if one of the agents within your brokerage is doing an open house, and see if you could do the open house with them maybe, and then tour the property beforehand or something, and do like, you know, a sneak peek in the video for the open house, and just let them know if that would work with them. And it's kind of nice too for, like, you know, if it's already on the market and you're doing a sneak peek, it's kind of nice too for people to get like a feeling of it too.
Well, we still are doing open houses. There are still some going on, Imani. So that's where, you know, you can really look at the house too. But I think you're right, Laura, with that. When you go online, you know, a lot of the listings do have the actual touring. You know, you really can become familiar with the house as to, okay, why did they price it this way, or where is it? A lot of it's with the location.
All right, I saw someone else trying to speak, but I didn't see who they were. Want to try again?
I guess it's me, Belinda.
Hi, Belinda.
Hey, I guess I think a lot of the information was very useful, but I'm looking at it as like two things. So it's like you're growing your business, and then you guys are giving useful tips on like strategies to use. But for me, if we can give some information like on how to maintain it, as far as like, okay, this is how like the LLC, the sole proprietor, or like how to maintain like the financial, like tips on the financial end to maintain your business, to keep it running, I feel like that would also be helpful.
You know, Belinda, one of the things you can do is okay, you've got that, Ruth. One of the things you can do is go to a lender, establish relationship with a bank, your bank, and maybe see if you can apply for a business loan to kind of tide you on over on those times where you know, the money isn't coming in on that. But that's the biggest problem with getting into real estate, because we don't get paid until we sell a house. So, but you can have a line, you know, whether you have a business loan, just an actual business loan, and you have to see, you know, depends on what kind of a bank, and probably some of your smaller, the local banks might be more prone to do that type of thing. Again, building relationship with them.
But what are some strategies that you've used over time to kind of like maintain your business? Like when it comes to your finances, like maybe like how do you know, good apps to track your miles, you know, certain things to make sure, like accountants, make sure you get one of those, you know, like what are some tips? Because I'm a newbie, so I don't know. I'm starting from scratch.
Okay.
So this book is super good. I took a class at Century 21 before I went to Badger Realty team and everything, and it's called Financial Fitness. And they talk about, you know, not spending your money when you don't have it, and only using the money that you have in your bank account. With my brokerage, and you could see if your brokerage can do it too, I have 5 separate bank accounts that my commission filters to by percentage wise. I have a joint account with my mortgage and my bills with my husband. Then I have a personal account. Then I have a savings account for in the winter time, or when it's slower, or if I want to buy myself something nice or get something big. I have a tax account where I have money percentage going in there just for my taxes, and my CPA will take it out monthly for me. And then I have another account, which I call a U account. And it's like a savings account, but it's money that I save, and my financial advisor will then take the money out throughout the year and invest for me. That's what I've done for personal financing. And it seemed to work great for me and everything.
Thank you.
Belinda, there are some other and others. There are apps out there, and there are at the minimum YouTube videos, for example, how to use things like QuickBooks, how to use things to track your miles. There are definitely some apps out there like Mile IQ. A lot of agents use that one. You can do a free version, but then you're limited on the number of rides within a year. As a new agent, you may not surpass the free system. But if you start with the free version of Mile IQ, if you start to get close to the end of free rides that they'll record for you, you can upgrade and then actually start paying by the month. QuickBooks is one that a lot of people find not terribly frustrating as far as learning how to track things. One of the things that Laura brought up, I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm married to a CPA, so I don't have to do most of this. He does it for me.
That's a
But-
trick, Linda. That's a trick.
So that is one trick. Find a CPA, marry him, whatever.
Yeah.
But actually making sure at the beginning of your journey as a real estate agent that you find someone to help you with your taxes that knows real estate. Make sure that, because a typical person that says, oh yeah, I do taxes on the side for my friends, that's great, but they have no clue what we can and cannot count on our taxes as far as deductions. So interview tax people and say, how many realtors do you work with? And, how's it going? Ask your financial people at whatever bank or credit union, whatever that you go to, do they know someone who helps specifically with people with real estate? Laura highlighted one of the number one mistakes agents make when they're first starting out is not taking money out. You get that commission check, you're like, woohoo, new car. Yeah, no, you have to pay taxes. So make sure that you know how much of each check you really should have set aside to cover those taxes, because otherwise tax season comes and you're in trouble, because first of all, you should have been paying throughout the year. And secondly, everybody else is like, woohoo, rebate check coming. And you're like, oh crap, I did not pay. And so you're the exact opposite feelings of a lot of people. So, QuickBooks, Mile IQ, Google Maps, if you happen to have Google, that Google Maps app is amazing, because at the end of the month, you can see what time you got to that showing, what time you left that showing, how long it took you to drive to the next showing. It's really cool. So if anybody hasn't looked at your Google Map lately, it's really pretty cool.
Yeah. So do we have like a list of like maybe some accountant that people have worked with in the past that's highly recommended? Or should I do your husband?
Association, but I would maybe talk to your broker and find out who they would recommend. That'd be a good first step.
Okay.
Do you belong to the Madison area real estate realtors on Facebook?
Yes.
Go in that group, go in the search icon and type taxes or financial advisors, and you'll get a link to a lot of the different places, because this topic comes up a lot, especially this time of year. So use that search button in that site, and you'll find Madison area people that they have steered each other toward.
Thank you.
Any other feedback on that question or any other questions? I think we've got time for one more question.
I just want to comment, Belinda, I think it's good to get your ducks in a row to get starting with that? And I think that's a great question, a great concern that you have. So
Yeah,
that's a good way to do it.
thank you. Because what I'm trying to figure out is just like how to set up, like Laura, you mentioned like how you set up the 5 account. I'm still trying to figure out, okay, what is the best route to go, how to set up the account, how to make it work. So like that's kind of where I'm at. So, but thank you.
Can I add a little bit too here? Like if you go get a good CPA, you start there. A good CPA is going to tell you, like set up an LLC and operate this way, and then eventually go into an S corp, and they're going to guide you through all of that. And actually, like mine was just done for me, right? Like I just hired my CPA, and he did all that for me.
Mhm.
And so you can do the same thing. And there's a lot of we're blessed. We got a lot of great CPAs in our area. So go find a good one that works with a lot of real estate agents. And like what I ended up doing is I just use QuickBooks app on my phone, and I get a profit and loss statement every month, right? So I know exactly, I can swipe left if it's personal, swipe right if it's business, and I have a business account, right? So pretty much all of it's business, but every once in a while you use it for something personal and you shouldn't, so you want to make sure that's not a write-off, right? So swipe it left so it's personal, and then the business should all be in there, right? And at the end of the month, I got a profit and loss statement. Let's just pick a number. Let's say I made $5,000 last month. I then brought that amount home to my wife as what we're going to budget together. Right.
Mhm.
So then we did Dave Ramsey's zero-based budget, where we had our monthly budget meeting and we budgeted off of that $5,000. We told every dollar where it was going before the month began. Because if you don't tell your money where it's going, it'll just disappear.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan too.
Awesome. You get it. Yep. So to get that budget amount, we used to just like guess how many, like, okay, I got 2 closings coming up. We should be about this much money. Well, then one of the closings doesn't happen and it gets delayed till next month. Then it throws our whole budget off. So then what we started doing is just budgeting from what the profit was from last month, because that money's in the account, right?
Mhm.
That money's there. So we can spend that money. And then we weren't spending, and it took us a little bit to get caught up, right? You had to be beyond living paycheck to paycheck to do that. So it took a little bit to get some cash flow and get money in there. And then we budgeted that money. And the lower amount, the when it gets hard budget meetings, when you've got more money, when you've got little bit of money, it's a short meeting, right? We're gonna pay the bills and we're gonna eat ramen noodles, but we're gonna make it, right? But when you've got a lot of money, and that's what happens with real estate agents, you'll have a month where you'll be starving for a long time, and then all of a sudden you have 3 closings and you got $18,000 in your checking account now. It's like, whoa, right? So you can't, like everybody else is saying, you can't just go blow that money, right? Like Sherry's saying, like you can't just go blow that, right? You got to pay taxes. So that profit and loss statement, and then when you get in, like I have my CPA take my taxes out every single month, right? Just runs payroll and out goes my taxes. So I don't ever have that fear. And then that shows up on my profit and loss statement. So then when I go home, I don't spend the money that I should have had for the taxes, right? And I love Laura's idea too with the multiple accounts, because she's telling her money where to go, right? And that's powerful. She's paying herself first and she's telling her money where to go. And good stuff. And you'll get there. You'll get a system that works for you, and just surround yourself like you're doing right now with people that can help you. And it'll be no time. You'll get that figured out, and then you'll be off to the races.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is get with a CPA ASAP.
Yes.
And then it will get easier from there. Okay.
They'll tell you what to do. They'll set you up. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much. That was very helpful.
Yes.
And I know we've said this when you interviewed for the scholarship, but feel free to reach out to anybody who's on this call today. Myself, I'm happy to give you contact information for anybody who's sitting in if you guys have questions or need additional advice. Looks like we're at the end of our time here, so I just want to say a huge thank you to Laura, Neil, and Jackie for their time and their contribution to today's session. Thank you to everyone who took the time out of their day to be here. We are, again, like I said, hosting a live networking session in person at the Thirsty Goat, which is just fun to say. So I hope they all see you there. I am sponsoring appetizers and the first cocktail or Coke if you want it. So
you read my mind. I hope they paying.
We will will see you guys there, I hope, at 5 o'clock. So you have a little bit of time to get there.
Bye-bye.
All right, everyone have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.